Robbins, and welcome to the show.
The Tommy DeVito story is fun, and it's so Jersey. But I'm just waiting for like the other shoe to drop because we've seen that happen so many times. Are you enraptured in the Tommy DeVito story?
Look, I'm enraptured by the story. I mean, really, this is sort of like the New Jersey version of Rudy, right?
Yes,
You know, the kid
yes.
wasn't even like a great college quarterback, but you know, right place, right time. I mean, everything that can go wrong did go wrong for the Giants, and he's seizing the moment. And you know, the more I hear about the kid is, they really liked him in that locker room. But what clinched it for me was, did you see the attire that his agent was wearing the other day?
How great was that outfit?
Yes.
Looked like he went to the Sopranos set and took something off Stevie Van Zandt, didn't it?
Yes.
Right. Now, there is no way that guy has to go through a metal detector. No way.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. Good to be with you here. A getaway show for us as we're going to go on another 5-day hiatus here after this program, at least with this show, and got a couple of others to do today. We'll be out on the road later on. Casa Calabria, the restaurant's not open, but every place is open for Mike Mayo and the Mike Mayo Lunchbox. And that'll wrap up our week and then back to another 5-day little vacation. I guess we're going to be out at the track on Friday also. But we will be back with you with this program on Wednesday. We were scheduled to have John Congemi in the Pigskin Playbook today, which we weren't able to bring you on Monday because we were off for the Christmas holiday. And John was a late scratch at the gate. Not a vet scratch, though. It was business. So that was good. Okay. So we weren't able to get the connection with John. And so here we are. I mean, with our New Year's resolution show, right? What is it that... what do you resolve to do here? I had a thing pop up, a memory pop up here, and it ventured to say that I was going to give up gambling, drinking, and partying in 2014.
Oh,
this came up from like 10 years ago. Wasn't very successful with that. I don't know if they accomplished anything that I really set out to do at the beginning of this year, Louis. Well, where would you say? Are we in the same dumb place that we were a year ago, all the way around, personally, physically, mentally, financially? Well, financially, it's borderline ruin. But what do you think? I mean, did we accomplish anything this year? We did launch some new ventures. Not sure what to make of all of them just yet. I think we're having some decent success. It seems like that Caffeine TV no filter thing, which you were not a big fan of in the beginning. What do we want to do more work for? All of a sudden, that might be the thing that's clicking the best for us, believe it or not, in terms of viewership and possibilities. And then we started the Tony Bruno Sports Network, the radio show, which we're going to be doing today. And, I'm very optimistic about that. And at the same time, we're not exactly sure what the hell is going on there. So we'll see. You gotta, do the things that are going to be the most useful for you. I think that was always, a category on my report card. Did you get report cards where they actually got into like sort of character elements? No, like when I was going to PS20,
little.
You would have grades in different subjects, and then they would sort of rate your character in the sense of like makes good use of time.
Oh, yeah.
That was always a category. And it was always a category that I completely failed at. Makes good use of time. I don't know what they thought I was doing there. I obviously wasn't paying much attention. So I was usually reading the racing form, even in the third grade. Makes good use of time. I think that's the thing to zero in on in terms of the way we approach this business in 2024. Just make, because we've talked to people and you get a lot of pie in the sky stuff, right? That Jack Neymar guy, when we started out, we first got boned by the radio station, and I run into this guy, and I'm going through a lot of different possibilities. I thought I was going to hit it really big with something. I had something going through Doc Reno that I thought was really going to take off, and these guys had me going, thinking I was going to end up syndicated with a little show on like 400 radio stations. And I put together the work, and they sounded like they were going to give me the job, and then they disappeared. That was it. They wanted me to do a little thing called Gambling for Dummies. Okay. It was going to be like a 45-second vignette, one of those things that you get like with the State Farm Minute. So who better to do that than me? And I put together a couple of samples for him. I think you helped me with that. And it would have been great if it had gone through. But then all of a sudden, the people disappeared, and it's like sayonara, man. No further word about that. What the guy told me, and he was a big shot with the iHeart group. I mean, this was a guy that could have gone ahead and got a lot of things approved just because he was in favor of it from a programming standpoint. And even he said it is now impossible to get through to anybody with any idea that might have some traction to it. And so I guess he was shot down with his premise there that he was going to do a thing for novice bettors to try and introduce them into the language of betting and all of this other stuff. And would have been fun for me, and it would have been really easy because I remember telling the Mustang, I said, what could be more ideal for me than to work 45 seconds a day? Well, it was going to take more than 45 seconds to put this shit together, but it was kind of like doing a version of the old DeForest files, which this is the sad part, Lubie, as you distance yourself from the things that you thought you were really good at doing. And a lot of people like the DeForest files. You didn't particularly care for it because it was extra work for you.
The one I thought the DeForest files were good. I didn't. I just made fun of the baseball one every year.
Yeah. Oh, the poetry, that was fucking pathetic.
I like the DeForest files. I thought they were good.
Yeah, it was right up there with the Sarnie Scrolls, which, by the way, we're not talking enough hockey here. It was actually in my horoscope. Says we're not talking enough hockey. That the best.
I love Sarnie.
I wouldn't argue with his premise that the best in-state rivalry of teams.
Oh, yeah.
See, I guess you could argue that because would you not include college football? I mean, there are better in-state rivalries in college football than the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers, who do hate each other, which is great.
Yes.
It's a veritable hockey bloodbath every time they get out there.
I hate them.
But there's no other rivalry. I mean, the Dolphins are not really rivals with Tampa Bay or Jacksonville. They don't play each other enough. The Heat and the Orlando Magic have been lousy for a long time, so that really never evolved into anything of any significance in terms of, oh yeah, you kidding me? We're going to stomp you out. Plus, I mean, what could you do but feel sorry for the people that live in Orlando and are Orlando Magic fans? And you don't want to be basing a relationship on pity, Lubie. I mean, so we don't give a fuck about them, do you? I mean, Orlando Magic. They play the Magic, the Miami Heat. They've actually struggled with the Magic even when they were bad, which is kind of weird. But you don't sense that there's any real animosity, acrimony, rivalry type stuff there. You don't see Pat Riley going, you know what? I don't care if we lose 80 games this year as long as we beat the Magic twice. That's not happening.
No.
And baseball, I mean, let's face it. Baseball in the state of Florida, you would have to say, and this comes as a giant surprise to me. Because it was also part of my Ratso Rizzo dream going back a long, long time ago. I remember a friend of mine, his parents, something happened with his parents. We were living on Long Island, and there's a guy named Bill Strong. He lived in my neighborhood, and he had to go to Florida for like 6 months or something to stay with his aunt and uncle because his parents were, experiencing some kind of health difficulty or whatever. And I couldn't have been any more jealous because he was telling me that he was playing baseball in the wintertime. And that was great. You would think that this would be a haven for baseball. You got all the old people who still like baseball. You have the Hispanic Latin crowd there that loves baseball. We know that. And you have a lot of reasons to believe that because you could play baseball year-round, that a lot of kids would be into baseball as well. But you would have to say it's an outright failure, Lubie, and they're about to erect yet another stadium in the state of Florida.
Oh, yeah.
To try and figure out if this works. I mean, well, what kind of schmuck thinking is this? Where, okay, so it's been an abomination in the Tampa Bay area. The Rays have been a really great organization, compromised, of course, by the fact that they don't have the kind of revenue streams that other teams do. You didn't see them in the Yamamoto race. They weren't bidding on Shohei Ohtani. They, are forced and relegated to developing their own players and then knowing that in a short period of time, as soon as they're eligible for free agency, and even before then, they better get rid of these guys. Otherwise, they're going to, end up with nothing. So, and somehow they've been able to sustain it. Other organizations have hired their people away, hoping to replicate what they've done. Everybody always references, we're going to do it the Tampa Bay way. But nobody can do it. It's kind of like the tush-push. Or something is unique to an organization. Right? I mean, no one's really been able to do what the Tampa Bay Rays have done. The A's were doing it for a little while with Billy Ball. And, they were able to actually, for a period of time there, even though everything, the dire circumstances that faced the Tampa Bay Rays certainly were afflicting and affecting everything that was happening in Oakland, maybe to a larger degree, right? They had even less response. And I mean, it's a bigger market. Is Oakland a bigger market because it's bordering on San Francisco? You can kind of poach in on
I guess.
some of those San Francisco fans. You have nothing. I mean, what do you got around Tampa? Clearwater, Sarasota?
I mean, it's a big area and land, but it's not like populated. It's
Right.
highly populated.
But how could it be such an outright failure in this state, Lubie?
I don't know.
You would have to say the Marlins franchise is a failed franchise, except for the fact that they managed to glom off a ridiculously favorable stadium deal. And so they were able to sustain themselves. Otherwise, I think they're playing in San Antonio, no?
Oh, probably. I mean, that's the funny thing is both have had their success on the field and still don't get support. To me, I think the Marlins would if they had sustained success like the Rays. The
They had a
Rays,
shot there for a little while.
I just no. Well, they've had multiple shots. The problem is their ownership always dismantles them.
Yeah.
It's been a punch in the stomach to us. The Rays is the one I don't get because they are successful every year and no one supports them. That's weird. Like the Marlins won like the Rays, I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't get good numbers. To me, the fact that the Rays win every year and the people are just like, fuck you. Like, I don't
It's incredible. It really is. I mean, it doesn't matter who they're playing, even in the postseason, right? People were saying, look at all the empty seats. The stadium is probably the worst in all of Major League Baseball. I mean, when you have pop flies to second base hitting a girder above the field, and they're still in play, right? The guy got to go after it. They're like, well, which way is that ball going? It's kind of like when we used to, manufacture fields in Brooklyn, where if the ball went in the garden, it was still in play. If it went in the bank parking lot, it was foul. If it happened to go in the street and no cars were coming, it was in play. If cars were coming, then it was a ground rule double. I mean, that's the kind of rules that you have there at the Blunder Dome.
Yep.
Is that the Blunder Dome? Or yeah, I guess you would call it the Blunder Dome, right? It was the Thunderdome at one time, was it not?
No, that's Thunderdome.
They've had all kinds of issues.
No, it sucks. It's horrendous. The grass is brown, even though it's AstroTurf. Yeah, brown AstroTurf.
They can't even grow AstroTurf there or maintain it. But yeah, no rivalry. I mean, the bigger question is not just that there's really no juice between Tampa playing the Miami Marlins, but that nobody gives a shit in the state about baseball. Period is kind of. I mean, it's an eye opener that has been evolving over 30 some odd years. And we were asking that question on sports talk shows before the Marlins even came into existence. Hey, you think baseball can make it in the state of Florida? And I was thinking, yeah, absolutely, man. Everything is in their favor. But it hasn't worked out. So you would have to say, I could see that to Jim Sarney, that the biggest pro rivalry anyway is between the Lightning and the Florida Panthers. And they've staged some sensational wars. And all kinds of different things happened during the course of the time that they've been playing each other, and they've had playoff series together. So there's reason for that kind of animosity to have received enough of a spark that it's ignited something that will continue anytime the two teams get on the ice. But I mean, isn't that not largely true about any two hockey teams? They all hate each other.
Yeah, and then once they get on the ice, they act like it's a back alley.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and opposed to just dropping the gloves before the game even starts.
I mean,
just saying, hey, let's cut with the bullshit and get right to the chase here.
I never played the Knights, Golden Knights, really. And in that Stanley Cup Finals, I was more bitter just watching them get
God. It was the revenge of Riley Smith and Jonathan Marchessault, wasn't it? I mean, do you think they talked to their teammates? Even Wayne Newton hated the Panthers. How did he get those teeth like that? That's unbelievable. All right, so this was my horoscope here, and it pertains to this whole hockey issue with Sarney. If you can balance your intuitive powers with a large dose of common sense, you should be able to get through the day unscathed.
Oh, good.
Which is really all I'm trying to do today. It really is. I'm telling you, man. I've had this fucked up knee. My foot's still, not quite right. I don't know what the hell's going on there. I'm thinking I can't wait for a week from Friday. When you can't wait to go get a needle from a doctor, it's I'm like that triple claimer at Beulah Park. You're gonna run me? Go ahead. Well, then jack me with whatever you got. Not sure what's going to work this time. Whatever they did last time worked for a couple of years, and we'll see if it happens again. The foot thing is a whole nother issue. Scares me a little bit. Okay, so I'm likely to get through the day unscathed.
Mhm.
Stick to the facts in all situations, Lubie,
We
and
try.
don't ever be tempted to say what you think other people want to hear, Jim Sarney. No. I love you, Jimmy, man.
That's very specific. Well, you sure? Why is this so specific?
I could have sworn that it was written just in response to Jim's text about how come we never talk any hockey on the show.
It's funny. I was actually thinking of getting Reno on this week, but I'm like, this week's so weird.
No one's listened to
They're
anything this
working,
week.
but they're not working. But then,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like the lunchbox shows are doing well. So that's cool. I don't
Everybody
know.
wants to see Mike Mayo stuff his
I
face.
know what
Everybody does.
Saying that's us eating, like I don't know if people are sitting there watching sport. Like I haven't watched any of the bowls. Yesterday supposedly they were good. I guess
I had a betting interest in one of the games through my booking venture with Francesco. He gave me USC.
Oh, good for you. This kid
Cheated me on the points. It was a 7-point line. He gave me 6 and a hook.
Yeah,
And, again, out of the Jewish Journal, I guess, which came out 3 weeks before the ball season even started. And Caleb Williams is out.
Yep.
I got this guy, Moss, Miller Moss.
Remember, we were talking yesterday. The kid that's the superstar freshman is in the transfer portal. So I had no idea who was going to, and they're openly looking for a transfer. Like they're trying to get a transfer. So I didn't know who was going to start for them. I guess we do know now.
Miller Moss, ended up throwing 6 touchdown passes in the game. I saw that on a crawl. I didn't watch any of the game. I would have to say this is the least interest I've ever had in the college bowl season. I don't think I've watched more than 10 minutes of bowl action. I'm sure. Are there college football fans out there that are just glued and riveted to what's happening?
Ken's watching all of it, but Ken also has action.
Well, but he's a big bettor though.
Yes, he has action. He's highly involved. I don't know if he's involved in every game, but I know he's involved in a lot of the games. It's to me, it's not even the FSU thing. It's the opt out. And again, I don't care that the kids are opting out. I think do what you got to do with your life. But the transfer / opt out thing is really like I don't know who's on each team. So it's like, what am I watching? It feels like preseason NFL. Like when you don't, you're like, who the fuck is Christopher Brown Smith? I'm like, I don't know who the fuck that guy is.
Well, and the team that you saw all season long is not going to be the team that you're going to see out there representing your school in its bowl game. I mean, how can you have any continuity? Do they have a continuity coach on offense now in addition to an offensive coordinator?
They should.
The continuity coach. Very good. What do you do? Read them poetry? I mean, what the fuck? But there's no continuity with what was going on. I mean, there's you might have the same system or whatever, but if you're changing all of the players and dropping down a level into what type of athlete you're putting in that position, and then how often is the word experience mentioned when it comes to analyzing sports? Well, you know what? They got the more experienced team. Now you have teams with zero experience going in what's supposed to be the signature game of their season, the big bowl game, right? It's the reward they get for working hard all year long. These kids love it. And yet, it seems kind of farcical. It's a shame, really, that that's happened. I don't know what the resolution to it is. Do you, Louie? I mean, how are you going to change that? Especially now you've added in another component where, not only is a kid going to not play, a player's not going to play because he's going to go pro, but he's going to not play because he's going to go to another school next year.
Cool. Look, what the professor was talking about this. If you notice, now they're in the playoff. But like last year when Alabama wasn't in the playoff, they still had their players. A lot of the times, with them at least, and I think other schools are going to start doing it, you tie in your NIL to the bowl. Like, look, you want an NIL, that's fine.
Oh, you got to play, yeah.
You got to play. And to me, that's the thing they're going to start doing. Like, because the bowl should be primetime, right? Like it was last night. What the fuck else was on? I would have watched USC if I knew Caleb Williams was playing versus Louisville, who was a top 15 team. I would have watched it. But I don't know who the fuck Miller. I never heard that name. Like, I watched enough USC.
Now you might hear it again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, 6 touchdown passes, and a couple of them were the absolute things of beauty. I mean,
he looked good.
So that was the thing, though, too. I guess Lincoln Riley would be more inclined to do this than some other coaches. But, we were talking about it yesterday with this whole Tommy DeVito story and how it went up in smoke. And now he's not going to start this next game. They decided to go with Tyrod Taylor in their next game, the Giants, who, you could have looked at it from a couple of ways. Do you really want to see, or do you already know what you have or don't have in Tommy DeVito? Would you not want to think, along the lines of, okay, let the guy start at least this next game, come back with him and see if what you saw, for a couple of games anyway, was real, and that he would be a worthwhile investment in the future. Think how badly too. I mean, that the whole quarterback situation is around the league in terms of guys that got big money that really haven't panned out to and amounted to shit. You would have to say that the money that was spent so far due to injury now with Deshaun Watson, injury and suspension, absolutely a waste of time, right? Joe Flacco is quarterback in your team, a guy that got cut by the Jets, who are going to start Trevor Siemian in their game tonight in an act of complete desperation. Are there enough points that you can get with the Browns? And this Joe Flacco, absolute steamball that's developing here. But Flacco is like of an MVP caliber. The Browns only laying 7 and a hook to the Jets tonight at home, Lubie.
The Jets
that point spread screams at you. Play me, play me, play me. Take the chalk. But a lot of people got buried on the chalk last week. Buried on the chalk. As did my friend Francesco, who went from being 5 units up to being now 1 down in the span of 1 day. I think he went 2-7 in the NFL.
Oh, Jesus.
And when I was looking at the games, I was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, there aren't enough points that you can get with the Giants or the Raiders against Kansas City. Kansas City, at this point, I just don't think they're very good. Do you?
And we invite him on as a guest, and I think he knows his football. But it's what people look. The Bills have played better, but they still haven't been great. Look, the fact that the Bills played a Charger team without Justin Herbert, for life and death,
all out.
Why does that matter if it's the Dolphins but not the Bills? Like they make these caveats for teams that they want to be good. So they're like, well, Josh Allen, look at the touchdowns. Don't worry that he's 15.
People were talking about Josh Allen as a distant thought to be the MVP this year.
Guys, so Tua with 10 interceptions and not having thrown one for 4 games is bad. Josh Allen with 15 and 1-2 in every game isn't bad. Okay, like, do you guys hear the logic that you're putting out there? Like, the Bills have struggled the entire year. Literally, yes. 2 weeks ago, they put together a nice game versus the Cowboys, and then they fucked around with the Chargers team without Herbert. Like, that's what
barely got out of that game with a win, and that's to preserve their season.
Look, yes, I agree. In the playoffs, you hear the name Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That's the best quarterback coach combo historically. Is it this year? Like, are you watching?
This year, Mahomes is not the best quarterback in the league by any stretch.
He looks like Brady. Like, he's a fucking whiner to the point where people like me who liked him are like, it's like, dude, just play fucking football, man. I'm sorry everything's been given to you on a silver platter, but sometimes you're going to struggle. Ask fucking Dan Marino. Like, he's like a spoiled brat. Like, the guy whines about every goddamn. It's like, dude, they gave you a chance at the Super Bowl last year. That penalty versus the Bengals was super suspect.
Yeah.
People like me were like, fine, give it to him. He's Patrick Mahomes. But don't expect that. Like, the dude.
He was getting Jordan treatment. He was.
Yes. And it's like, dude, still football.
Or Brady treatment, like you said, where they started to invent rules. I saw a guy do something, forget what game I was watching, and the quarterback ended up, he was about to throw the ball, and he tried to pull it back down. It was the game, actually, what was it, against the Patriots? Because... and you would have thought if ever the tuck rule applied, it was there. But they went ahead and called it a fumble anyway because it wasn't Brady doing it, right? So they invented a rule just for that one circumstance. And then it's not a rule anymore. Yeah, because the guy clearly, he's about to throw the ball, and then he decided to pull it back down. And in the process, he dropped the ball. And went on to be recovered by the other team, and they let it stand. I think that was in that Patriot game. Believe it or not. Imagine they used the tuck rule against Belichick. He would have gone nuts out of his mind. All right, we're going to come back with more. We'll be with you for about another 15 minutes here, and then we'll have our No Filter, a morning briefing, Caffeine TV. That's doing very well, so we're happy about that, which is a mini version of what we do here. Somewhat, although we're trying to stay on the local scene here a little bit on the Defo Show with Mike Lubie Lubitz. And then later on, Tony Bruno Sports Network, 10 to 12. You can download the app and hear the show. Get into some New Year's stuff, I guess. I don't know. I've made 0 resolutions because I've had the same thing going through my head for the last 15 years, I think, Lubie, which isn't good. I was doing well on some of it until these recent physical setbacks. But, hopefully will get resolved quickly. Amazing, though. I mean, literally, you call the doctor, say, hey, I'm in dire straits here. I can barely walk. I can't bend my knee. I need to get in as soon as possible. And go, how's March 23rd sound?
I don't get, like, why are they
Are
back?
you going to, fucking send a nurse for me? I mean, what the hell? Is it really that backed up? I mean, are that many people seeing how few people does a guy see every day?
That's the thing. It's like, what are you doing with your time?
Seems to me they're all just hanging out, having coffee, and shooting the breeze about whether the Dolphins can beat the Ravens. Let's get in here with a needle and start, sticking me with something.
Work.
Put something in there. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz. Good to see Andy is up and kicking, man. Andy doesn't return any of my calls or texts anymore, man. He doesn't write.
He's been at our trivias on Landlubbers, which lets me feel at ease that he's doing okay. He has not been as active here, so it is good to see him this morning.
Yeah. I mean, he's right about Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, he's a solid.
Decent, but always gets hurt when he gets his chance.
Yes.
I would play him over Tommy DeVito, though. He was injured. That's the only reason DeVito got a chance. I thought DeVito probably deserved to stay in there, even though Tyrod Taylor came back because he had some momentum going. The story was great. And, yet, I mean, if you really look at it on the surface, you would have to say that Tyrod Taylor gives you a better chance to win. No?
100%. He definitely does. DeVito's not an NFL quarterback. I don't know.
Got a lot of big games, too. Saturday, a nice isolation game there between the Cowboys and the Lions. Cowboys at home against the Detroit Lions. I guess the Cowboys finished with their last two on the road. That may or may not be true, right? With the 17-game schedule, you can't even say because they've played 8 road games, right? They're 3-5. So who knows? Do you get 9 home games and 8 road games?
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Who gets screwed in that system?
Yeah, 1 year you're going to get. I mean, look, the Dolphins were out of the country, so they really get fucked if it's not an even.
Yeah.
Maybe you get even that way. I don't know. Yeah, the whole thing's weird. The uneven amount of games is weird.
All right, Bills have kind of an easy one there, you would think, against the Patriots.
Yes.
The other big game, of course, is the Dolphins and the Ravens. Anything else that really stands out here? Chiefs-Bengals? Are the Chiefs that vulnerable that they lose to the Bengals?
That's supposed to be a decent game.
All right. Jags-Panthers. Supposedly Bryce Young is playing well.
What the fuck's happened to the Jags?
Just falling apart. Huh?
What the hell was that last week?
Such ugliness. Trevor Lawrence staggering around. I guess I don't even know if he's going to play this week.
By the Bucks, like they were down. Weren't they down like something to like 28-0 or some stupid ass? Like I don't. 2-3 weeks ago, they looked like an actual contender.
This is actually a big game, even though it's two teams that have really disappointed. The Buccaneers coming on behind Baker Mayfield a little bit. Look a lot better than they did at any stage of the season, and they play the Saints. They host the Saints. Playoff implications are on the line there. All right, we're going to come back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:34. In style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
This comes from the great Defo Llama. It's the bets you don't make, the chances you don't take, that can compromise an otherwise incredible life, my friend.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Good to be with you here at the Defo Show. Getaway day for us. Mike Lubie, Lubitz, Jeff DeForest. And we do want to thank everybody who's paid attention to this show all throughout the past year and a couple of years that we've been doing it on our own after we made that escape from another one of these charlatans, Lubie. Well, why don't people just tell you the truth, huh? Everybody wants to talk pie in the sky. What is it that they're trying to accomplish? Just be straight up with me. If you know that this thing is going to suck, then just say so. Right? If you can tell, and you can pretty much tell right away if something's got any kind of a spark to it, can you not?
I can. People can't. I don't know.
I mean, look, there was reason to believe there, Lubie. I walk into this place, I see the guy's got the capability of doing just about anything from a video standpoint, and he's talking about, well, he doesn't need to make any money on this thing, and what he wants to do, he wants to take his company public, and this is the whole thing, and he needs to have something that's like an ongoing presence there. And I'm looking at it going, my God, this is just laced with potential, the whole thing. But then, you realize, wait a minute, man, this guy may not own the shirt on his back. Then later I find out he was trying to unload the whole thing to a guy that I know doesn't own the shirt on his back.
That's a fun
You're
comment.
like, this is South Florida, man. Everybody's just bullshitting each other, man. Well, what is that all about? Why can't we deal with the real thing, right?
This day and age, but it's where we are. I mean, like being here.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, if you're out there and you're watching, you're listening, and you can really advance us in our quest to be, I don't know that we want to be mainstream media necessarily, but this is kind of the mainstream now. Everybody's the host of a podcast of some sort. Everybody is the host of a podcast. And I actually believe that this would be the way to go, would it not? I mean, people can pop it up on their telephone. It doesn't make, for a very difficult, you have an oral archive too. I mean, if you miss a show, whatever, it's fantastic.
Yep.
Compared to terrestrial radio, which you would have to think, is very much about to be a thing of the past, no?
It's just funny. We did it for so long, and it was so normal to say we're on now, and if you miss it, you miss it. It's not the end of the world. But it feels so long ago. Like when
it does, yeah. I don't really. I don't necessarily. I always loved the medium. I really did. I like interactive sports talk. Is kind of fun.
Yeah.
That sort of dissipated over time, where you would be giving the phone number out 8,000 times a show and get like 2 calls.
Yep.
And then, unfortunately, some of your sponsors would get only 2 calls after you. It worked for some people. It didn't work for others. That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, if you just look at the landscape there, you went from having 4 or 5 sports talk stations in town down to 1. And that one station really only features 3 shows. So, that's it. You went from having maybe 15, 20 shows in town down to 3, which... that's not necessarily a good direction to be going. This, though, would be an absolute blast done on the right scale. So let's hope that happens in 2024. I was looking up some year-enders, Lubie. I don't know. I thought about doing some of that on the Tony Bruno Sports Network show.
Okay.
So some time to expand. Big stories of the year. What would you say? I mean, we were very much in the spotlight here in South Florida. We kind of were the story, weren't we?
I was going to say our sports scene into the summer.
Yeah.
Was fantastic.
2023. I mean, the Dolphins, they sort of showed signs of this last year, became one of the more exciting teams, at least to watch and speculate about, even when they have bad games. You're sitting there going, my God, how could that be, man? You got Tyreek Hill out there.
Yep.
Guy said he was going to, get 2,000 receiving yards. How many games did he miss? Did he miss 2 or 1, Tyreek Hill?
Missed 1 game. I don't think he missed more than 1 game.
Okay, well, he missed 1 game and portions of others with his injury, and he's still, I think he has 1,600 receiving yards. So probably not going to make it to 2,000, but would have been something. Always an exciting team to watch, and that was good. We were at the center of it all. So I'm looking at a couple of lists here, Lubie, of the top 10 stories of the year, and this one was kind of avant-garde, I guess. The number one story of the year in the sporting world, you would say, was what? I mean, you could break it down by sport, but this is just overall the number one story of the year in all of the sporting universe was what? All right, I'm not putting a test out there for you.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm actually. What's so funny is that at the beginning of the year, you forget everything that happened. And then it's like, oh, that happened this year. You're like, oh shit, that happened this year.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, you could spend 2 hours just going over the number of celebrities that checked out this year from the sporting world.
For me, well, yeah. Well, from a good standpoint, I would say, it's a South Florida thing. I mean, like either probably FAU. The fact that FAU had never
yeah, what a story.
Never won one tournament game in their career. They had a lead in the Final Four with like 2 to 3 minutes left. That to me is fucking insane. It's because that's the thing. You've had other teams get there, George Mason, VCU, but once they get to like the 8s or the 4s, it's done, and you can tell it's done. They were the better team in that game. Like they were better than San Diego State. They just fell apart at the end of the game. Like the fact that FAU again went from never winning a tournament game to having a chance to play in and then I don't care what UConn did to everyone. The way FAU was playing, if they had played UConn, I wouldn't have automatically assumed UConn to win. They could have.
UConn was bowling over most of the competition at that point.
But FAU played really well. If they had gone past San Diego State, like they would have a chance to win a championship. Like that.
Imagine that.
It's just fucking weird.
And he says John Petraglia winning the Quaker State, the Quaker Oil Open. That goes back a little bit too far to be considered part of 2023. You had, another brilliant story that probably people, won't mention, and this is in deference to the great Jim Sarney, or actually, Coco Gauff, winning the U.S. Open.
And that should be a big deal.
The emergence of Coco was fantastic. I mean, she's still only like 19 years old.
Yep.
And that was great. Can she sustain it? I mean, it's pretty tough there. They tend to really flip positions at the top of women's tennis. You had Iga, the woman who great differential in terms of the way her last name is pronounced. I want to go with the Leslie Visser, Swiatek. Sorry, Leslie. I didn't mean to spit on the camera. Anyway, we were calling her Swiatek forever. Then it was Swiatek. Then it was Swiatek. But nonetheless, I mean, a relentless, performer that is indifferent to pressure, or so it seems. Where you'll see some of these women folding under pressure, you don't see Swiatek doing that. And I guess what was it this year that they met in the French Open final? Coco Gauff and Swiatek, and Coco got smoked, or was that the year before? But anyway, Coco Gauff's emergence, that was a big story. The number one story that what was pointed out on this list, it was a bizarre list, Lubie. You want me to go through it here real quick?
Yeah, if you have it, actually.
Okay, here you go. Top 10. That sports pretty much was out of politics this year. That, the only political stuff that you saw was the NFL emblazoning end racism in the end zones of various stadiums. And as the person who put this list together speculated, so how's that going? It's done a lot there. Changes Major League Baseball made, significant, no doubt. I mean, trimmed the games by 25 minutes. People seem to like the pace. You had more balls in play. I'm appalled by the idea of regulating the shift out of the game, but it seemed to actually open some things up, put more people on base. The bigger bases, you wouldn't have thought would have made that much of a difference, but it did. There were more stolen bases this year. So they put some components back in the game that made the game great when it was America's pastime, and they sort of got some of the dread out of being at a stadium for 4 hours to see a 2-1 game. And, that was very, very positive. That was only number 9. 8 on this guy's list was sports media implodes. That ESPN has been laying off people right and left while they're paying some people like McAfee and others
weird
giant money.
And that's supposedly the big thing with why they are clearly meddling in college football is they put so much money into this stuff and they're fucking failing, which I didn't realize they were failing that much because people still watch the games, I thought.
Sure.
But then they go and pay Mac. Like, I don't like it's like the iHeart thing where we're gonna have a pool party and an award ceremony, so that's gonna save the day. Like, if you're firing all these people, how much attention can McAfee bring you? Like, I don't understand. They're paying him hundreds of millions. Like, I don't like. That's
It's amazing. It really is. I mean, and somebody was paying him as much or more before that. FanDuel, one of those gambling outfits.
I guess he gets lots of downloads, they say, but I don't know. It's such a different world.
Popular, that's fine. I mean, but yeah, and that Sports Illustrated is now using artificial intelligence to write stories.
Yes, I know that.
Are you kidding me? Holy Frank DeFord, what the hell is going on there? That was their thing. They had these beautiful essayists that was part of. I don't know that it was my inspiration to want to be a sports writer, but if you were going to be a sports writer, you wanted to be like these guys, right? That told the story in a different, a very eloquent prose type fashion, and yeah, instead of the who, what, when, where, and why type of a story. That was great. All right, so sports media implodes. Taylor Swift coming into the NFL, and they're both feeding off each other to enhance each other's popularity. NFL dominating virtually all of the sports, puts an end to all controversies. Also, the National Football League this year, you didn't hear a lot of different, they snuffed out whatever fires might have been ignited by the fact that guys were getting arrested, this, that, the other thing, shootings, spousal abuse cases, all very quietly swept under the rug there, and very conveniently so. So you didn't hear a lot about that. The Saudis buying into everything.
That may be one of the biggest stories is the Saudis just overtaking the golf world to the point where I don't know. We don't know what.
And other sports, right? Soccer. I mean, they're playing soccer in a fucking desert.
Yes. Yep.
Ronaldo's trudging through the sand there. I mean, wishing he had a camel underneath him. Get the fuck out of here. What is that? What phony baloney stuff, is going on there? Have they accomplished their mission? I mean, are we thinking better about their relations with Saudi Arabia? That they really brought into boxing a huge influence in boxing right now, Saudi Arabia. And of course, they tried to lure Messi there, which would you say Messi mania? I mean, doesn't that belong on any list? It wasn't on this list.
Oh, that's funny. That was a huge deal. It just, I guess it was short lived. I don't know. That became, at least down here. See, down here was a big thing. I don't know what it was nationally, but down here, that was huge.
Got no Otani in there. Anything to do with him? As number 4 story, it was obviously very much in the spotlight. And I almost sent this article to Jim Sarney because of the fact that they made number 3 the rise of interest in women's sports. Lubie, there you have it, there on this list of the most important stories of the year. Rise of interest in women's sports. He cited the thing in Nebraska with the volleyball in the 92,000. And, interest levels in the Final Four there with the women and Caitlin Clark and, the whole business with LSU and Mulkey and her crew of criminals. No, I don't know if they're criminals. They're nice young ladies. What are you talking about? They're scholastic athletes.
Sure, there you go.
There has to be something going on there with LSU.
100%.
I mean, Mulkey might be the Bill Belichick of women's college coaches. College football chaos. What was the number 2 story? And all of the chaos that took place with Pac-12 disintegrating into nothing.
Yeah. If you want to say the college football world imploding or
chaos everywhere. I mean, even right down to the fucking.
Yeah. That's down to the.
Which we all know what that is. And the number 1 story was sports gambling. How sports gambling is influencing everything in the world today. I could see that being the number 1 thing that took place 2023. Sports gambling, the expansion of sports gambling.
It's big this year. Was this year like the year? I don't know.
It just continues to exponentially explode, my friend. If that's possible, right? Can you exponentially explode? Yes.
Yeah. I guess exponentially grow. I think
it's exploding. It's crazy. Look what people are doing, Lubie. Ever since, how many people send you a text of some $5 bet that they made on the new app there because it's legalized in Florida? I see 20 of these a day, literally. Oh, God. Yeah, where people are either posting a ticket on Facebook. Oh, I got fucked. I can't believe it. The guy made a free throw with 1 second to go. How could they put him on the foul line? It's like, because you got fucked.
Basketball, exactly.
That's the way it is. some guy throws one up like he was Jerry West from mid-court, and has no intention of even aiming it at the basket. He's just throwing a ball up there. It goes through and it covers the over. Blows you out of an underplay. How many times has it happened? All right, well, we hope you have nothing but good luck. What are you swearing off in 2024, Libby?
I don't do the resolution. I think it's dumb.
No?
I just every year try to grow and learn from the past year. And I feel like I've done that this year. And I feel like I'll do it going into 2024.
All right. Hopefully, all of your dedication will be richly rewarded this year.
There you go.
And I certainly need mine, too. Desperation is the mother of invention. Just keep that in mind. All right. We'll see you guys in 2024. We'll be back with you on Wednesday with the Defo Show. And then that's it, man. We're going to grind it out. When's the next holiday? Like July 4th?
Yeah, I don't know.
Shit.
Around when you go away.
Memorial Day?
I guess. I don't know.
Hey, man. You don't know how I dig 3, 4, 5 day weekends. I really enjoy them.
I've enjoyed these.
After working 6 days a week and sometimes 7 my entire life. It's always nice to do nothing. All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks to Mike, for Mike Lubie Lubitz. I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time as we leave you now that.
The time.
It's 8:52.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to